Now, these stunning copper bullion rounds, they're going to be given away here on the channel at Future Investments. Does gold really beat inflation? Well, in a study analysing 50 years of data, the World Gold Council found that gold returned 15% per year on average during periods when inflation exceeded 3%. Okay, so does gold beat inflation? Well, gold has always been hailed as the hedge against inflation, as the purchasing power of the dollar and pound declines. You would have often heard me talking about it here on Future Investments, gold being a hedge against inflation and how it can preserve your wealth. So in this episode, we're going to be taking a look at the factual figures to see if gold really does beat inflation. Okay, so let's start it off with some of the data I've managed to gather throughout the last few years. Okay, so in 2019, global inflation was at 2.21%. That was a 0.24% decline from 2018. And in 2020, global inflation was at 1.94%. That was a decline of 0.27% from 2019. However, this is where we start to see a change, because in 2021, global inflation reached 3.47%. That was the start of the increase, a 1.53% increase from 2020. And then we look at 2022. This is where we see a huge incline, where it was 7.97%, a 4.5% increase from 2021. And we all know how the rest went from there, don't we? Now, how do those interest rates, how does that global inflation figures affect us? Well, it's great for savers. If you've got an ISA, an index fund, or any form of investment that's gaining savings and interest, it's good because it gains you more money back on your investment, on your savings, whether it's in an ISA or an index fund. However, it is in fact bad for people with good and bad debt. The reason I say good and bad debt, because I do believe, like Robert Kiyosaki said, there is good and bad debt. Case in point would be if you've got an investment, maybe buy-to-let property or a HMO, house of multiple occupation, which you're renting out, which is yielding you passive to semi-passive income. That's classed as an asset. To get that property, you would need a mortgage, and therefore that would be classed as good debt because that debt is bringing you back income into your pocket. Whereas if you took out credit card debt for buying items that are liabilities, essentially things that take money out of your pocket, whether it's car, clothes, holidays away, then that would be classed as bad debt. Now let's take a look at gold. Let's compare how gold has performed in the last 4 years relative to that inflation. Okay, so currently gold's price is £2,021.63 per ounce of gold bullion. A fantastic price, and I have to say, as a gold bullion investor, it's nice to see gold breaking that £2,000 per ounce mark. But let's take a closer look at the last 5 years of gold bullion, specifically regarding its price point. So gold has had a high of £2,021.80. That high is currently right now. Gold is performing very good. And what does that tell you? Well, that tells you that there's potential chance for economic turmoil in the markets, possible recession, inflation is high, interest rates are high as well. Because what we know is with gold, investors run to it. It's a hedge against inflation. It's a wealth preservation device. It's a safety net. It's a backbone of investors' portfolios. When there's turmoil in the markets, people run to gold. It's always been seen as the safe haven asset to secure your wealth, and large amounts of wealth at that. However, we've looked at the high. What was the low of gold in the last 5 years? Well, the low was £1,097.51. That's a yield of 65.66% in the last 5 years, or an actual pound value increase per ounce of £801.07. So in the last 5 years, we've seen a dramatic price increase in gold bullion, and especially now as it's broken that £2,000 per ounce mark, I think we could really see gold continuing on that upward trend of really increasing in price. Now, comparatively, the worst inflation is the greater gold performs. And I'm going to use an example here. In the episode here, you can see in the background a 5-gram Royal Mint gold bar. Now, one of these 5-gram Royal Mint gold bars in 2020, so 4 years ago, relative to the figures we're talking about, would have cost you around £250. However, that same bar would now cost you £373.98. Comparatively, the £250 original purchase has now beaten inflation. How so? Well, if you had £250 cash 4 years ago, like we've got in the background here, you can see that cash. If you had £250 cash sitting there at face value, not only would the £250 stay the exact same in cash form because it's not being invested, it's literally going to stay flat and stay where it is. The buying power of that £250 would have decreased. As the value of the dollar and the pound declines, that means your money, the buying power, declines as well. So therefore, by investing it in gold bullion, not only have you hedged against inflation, preserved your wealth, but you've actually increased the value of your original £250 investment. That means you've yielded 49% in 4 years. That equates to £173.98. Now for me, with an investment that's considered extremely low risk, a great investment to have in your portfolio, one of the best investment vehicles you can have to preserve your wealth, to get those sort of returns on an asset that is simply sitting there, it's a hands-off investment, I think that's fantastic. And for me, that does prove the point. Gold has beaten inflation. Because at the end of the day, simply by being invested in the yellow metal, you've hedged against inflation, no matter the yield. And it comes back to that tree analogy you would have heard me say time and time again. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. And it's so true because I often have made that mistake in the early days of my investment journey. I used to wait. Before investing in an investment vehicle, I'd wait for that price to drop. And often, 9 times out of 10, the price wouldn't drop, it would continue to rise. And I would end up investing anyway, only at a higher price point. So for me, I really do stand by the fact that it's better to try and get in the market rather than trying to time the market. And when it comes to the yellow metal that is gold bullion, all we need to do is look at that fact of that 5-gram gold bar. In the last 4 years, it's increased by 49%. That's a value of £173.98. And when you consider that that's considered as fractional gold bullion with higher premiums, it makes you wonder, if you had have invested more money, say into a 1-ounce gold coin, how much more would you have yielded on that investment? It's food for thought. But nonetheless, in my opinion, gold has definitely beaten inflation, and I'm continuing to use it as an investment vehicle in my portfolio. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section below what you think and whether you're going to continue investing in gold bullion over the next decade. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you all in the very next episode. Bye-bye. Well, thank you very much for watching till the end of the episode, and for that I wanted to let you in on a cheeky little look. Now, these stunning copper bullion rounds, they're going to be given away here on the channel at Future Investments. These are alien coins from Cardiff Gold. One of them is They Are Here, and the other is We'll Be Back. They're stunning alien coins, and I think 4 bullion pieces, they're very, very attractive. Now, how can you win these elusive copper bullion coins? Well, all you've got to do is click the link in the description below, or the join button if you're watching on a laptop or an iPad. You can become a premium future investor. Not only do you get exclusive behind the scenes content and videos for members only, but your YouTube channels get linked in every single video description. Not only that, but on the 15th of every single month, I do members only giveaways for premium future investor members. We have actually had our last winner win for the 4th time. So, could it be you this month? Well, all you've got to do is click the join button and you could be taking home some of these stunning copper bullion coins all the way to you.